Greetings everyone, welcome to Overgrove episode 6. It's been a little while since we've had a bit of a news drought, but the recent Overwatch developer update that dropped on Thursday is what we'll be discussing today, since it contains a lot of juicy stuff. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
A very good morning to you, Tree Boy Dave. How are you doing today?
Yeah, doing well.
This is Overgrove episode 6. So yesterday, Jeff Kaplan brought us the delicious developer update.
A lot of content was in it. Some somewhat expected, some less expected, but all very welcome.
I watched it on stream. Somebody linked it in my chat, and I pulled it up, and we all watched it together. Some of the things I was kind of expecting, but there were some of the items that was announced that was just came out of nowhere for me. One of the things that they started with was the introduction of the experimental card system on retail Overwatch.
Yeah, so this will be a new mode in the main game that they'll use for balance changes, testing out balance changes for everyone on the live servers rather than on a separate PTR server. So this will not only benefit PC players but also console players. Console players will get their first chance at testing out new balance changes for the first time because they've not had a PTR. Throughout the Overwatch history, they've not been able to test out changes before they've gone on live. And with this new experimental mode, they're going to get that chance now, which is something I'm sure 50% of the Overwatch user base is very keen on doing, because console players make up about half of all the Overwatch players out there. If I remember correctly, PC share is about 50%, then you've got PS4 30% and Xbox One 20%. So you're leaving out half the audience with the PTR, but now with this new experimental mode, they're going to get a chance at least tasting out the balance changes. They still won't be able to test out new maps or new heroes, but this is a big step in the right direction.
A lot of people, even though you download the PTR and you jump on it for a little bit, you don't ever get on there and actually test stuff out. Normally you do it because you want to see the hero or see the changes, but you don't give feedback. So adding another window or another door for people to access what they are working on and there most likely will be a way for you to respond, maybe through some system online or through the experimental card. That's great. More information, more feedback, more testing is really great for the game. And it seems like they've created this new philosophy for Overwatch when it comes to balancing and their updates and their changes. They want more feedback and they're willing to make the changes faster.
The good thing about the experimental mode is that it is on the live servers, which means people can play it, get XP, level up, get their loot boxes. If there's seasonal events on, they'll be more keen to actually try out new changes because it won't impact how quickly they can get all the new seasonal items. So it's going to increase the amount of testing with these new balance changes by a massive amount. Blizzard are going to get the amount of testing that they're looking for, rather than the old PTR system, which only a few players really used in the end, and they didn't get enough data. So not only will there be more testing, the results of the testing will be more accurate, and they'll be able to balance much better than they could before, because they simply have more data to really study the effect of the changes they're making.
They want to try to be more aggressive and make more frequent changes to the game. They have no problem making a change immediately within a few days or within a week. It is new and exciting. Over the past couple of weeks, there have been many streamers who have made these comments that big things are coming to Overwatch. They've heard that these really big changes are coming. It seems that everybody hit the nail on the head when it comes to this new philosophy from Blizzard in Overwatch.
With these changes as well, Jeff specifically said they will be targeting the meta specifically. So they're looking to constantly try to change things up in a more rapid, more aggressive way. And the way they're doing it is if something doesn't quite work, they can easily turn about and go the other direction very quickly. They are going to be much more aggressively going after this thing, right? Trying to get the meta, keep it more stable. And with that in mind, they're looking to implement hero pools into competitive in Season 21.
This was one of the things that when he mentioned this, I kind of looked over at chat, and we probably all had our mouth open because they don't like the idea of hero bans, which would have been done by the community. The community would have voted and said, I don't want to play against a Mei, I don't want to play against a Moira. But they introduced the idea of the hero pools. And as it stands right now, we have Season 21, which is coming in March. And the idea is that every week, they're going to rotate heroes. So you will have, for example, he mentioned Moira specifically. I would throw out Mei and get rid of Orisa for one whole week. Probably 2 DPS, 1 support, 1 tank. I'm not sure. You will have to play different heroes and counter and defeat something that you may not have been able to do because of that hard stuck meta that we always seem to be stuck with every season.
With Blizzard making these changes, they can make the changes more carefully to avoid making things too lopsided. With players making those decisions, you get what's known as a ban meta, which means that either the same players are counted every time, the same heroes are just banned every time, then it becomes a stale meta again, just in a different way. So with Blizzard doing it, they can be very careful, very calculating on which heroes they're banning and which they're not, to keep things more fluid.
I'm excited for it. Jeff Kaplan on a forum post said that they feel that this is not going to be as dramatic as, say, role queue or as hero limits. The hero pool is going to allow them to dissolve metas without them being hard stuck, because he had said that metas tend to change per season, but slowly. It takes a while. Even with the shield change that they made with the recent patch, which they really just tried to get rid of Orisa and Sigma from the meta, people are still using it. So when they implement the hero pool system, they'll be able to remove Orisa. They'll be able to remove Sigma every week or so. So they won't have to go in and make all these changes. They won't have to go in and basically snip these heroes' abilities and make them kind of like, this is my favorite hero, I can't play it now because you've basically broken it. With a hero pool system, they can do it without doing those hardcore character-breaking changes.
It gives them a much more powerful tool in forcing the meta to change without adversely affecting heroes, as you say. One way we know they're on the right track is the Overwatch League teams are very enthusiastic about the idea. They really like this hero pool idea that will force them to come up with new strategies every single time. I'm not sure exactly how frequently they're going to switch up the hero pool on the Overwatch League itself. It'll be interesting to see how they manage that with the Overwatch League, because Jeff said with the developer update that the 1 week rule is something they're still experimental on. They'll make it more frequent or less frequent depending on feedback, and it'll be interesting to see what philosophy they use with the Overwatch League as well. Are they going to have daily hero pools, or every match a different hero pool, or every week, or what? It'll be interesting to see how they do it.
Every match hero pool, that would be nutty. I would hope that it would be the same hero pools that we have per week. That way we could see what they do. You know, because I'm one of those people who, I can get really good at the game. Let me watch these best players in the world. Oh, I see. They're just really good. That's my problem. They're way better than I am. And I watch what they do in their strategies. I hope it's the same. And I'm definitely down to try it. I'm excited for it. March, Season 21, yes, please.
One thing I really thought was about time that they announced in this developer update was the sorting of player icons, which is something that they should have done from the start. It wasn't as much of a problem when Overwatch first came out. There wasn't a huge amount of player icons, but now there's literally hundreds of them. It's just a complete mess. They don't seem to have any kind of cohesive order. There is a sort of order in there. You can sort of see that some hero icons are grouped together by hero, but then if you start looking, you'll find some icons are just completely out of order. And sometimes the order doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Player icon sorting is something that will definitely be welcomed by every single Overwatch player, I'm sure, that likes to change their player icon every now and then, and takes about 5-10 minutes just to find the one they're after. Yeah, this will be a very welcome change, and I'd like it in the game sooner rather than later for everyone that cares about changing their player icon or looking for a specific player icon or whatever they want to do.
But I got tired of looking through them, and I don't ever open it up. Never go in there and look at them. So if they make it where I'm able to organize, maybe go through seasons or the cuteness or the pixel ones, that'll be great. Give me access to something that I already have that I have no desire to look at the moment.
It's a very welcome change, and it can't come soon enough, really.
Quite possibly this was going to be things that we were going to see in Overwatch 2, and it's moving down to Overwatch 1 at the moment.
Yeah, maybe. One of the things that they are sort of half moving down is career profile changes. Jeff mentioned that for Overwatch 1, they're doing a sort of minor refresh for the career profile, tidying some things up, moving some things around. But for Overwatch 2, they're going to do much bigger changes to the whole thing. So It'll be interesting to see what exactly that means when they decide to do that. For someone like me, who has been fairly focused on the career profile, because I've got my nice little rainbow on there, it'll be interesting to see if they're going to take my rainbows away. Or, smarten them up a bit, or anything like that. Are they going to mess with the hero time rainbows, the little coloured bars of hero time? Or, are they going to make things look a bit tighter in terms of the stats? Now, the stats are probably a little too messy at the moment. I'd say if they're going to focus on any areas at all, it should be the stat screens, because they are a bit of a mess. It's hard to tell where certain things are without looking through every little stat until you find the one you're after. If I had to guess, that's probably where their main focus will be for the minor refresh to the career profile. They'll just make those stats pages look a little cleaner, look a little tidier, look a little more consistent between different heroes. Because if they've, say, got the damage and the healing in the same place on every hero page, and then just maybe the healing missing on a hero that doesn't do healing, that'll look much better and be much easier to find stuff.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, again, I don't look at. So here's a question for you. Have you noticed recently more people talking about how sketchy someone is? Like, that Widowmaker's awfully sketchy, or that McCree, I don't know, he seemed to snap on to my character kind of quickly. Have you seen an increase in that recently? Because this past season, I've had more people comment about the sketchiness, like that person might be cheating. That person, we might need to watch the replay. During the developer update, the reason I bring it up is because he specifically talked about anti-cheat measures that they're going to be adding within the next few patches.
And it's something they've been continually working on behind the scenes. Of course, it's important for them to not tell people what they're doing, because that makes it easier for the people that make these cheat programs to try and circumvent what they're trying to do. So Blizzard have been deliberately silent or quiet on these matters, just telling people when they've actually implemented a system without giving the details, because that would be a bad idea. But the fact that Jeff has specifically mentioned it, and the fact that we have over the past few months seen large ban waves go across newest, biggest cheat programmers being finally detected by Blizzard, then they've been doing a lot of work.
Now, I don't know, how much do you play the workshop? Do you ever get involved in any of that? I've never touched it, but recently, as of the last couple of weeks, because of the new play while you wait system, I have been starting to play a little bit of them, and I actually find them kind of fun. People coming up with these pretty wild ideas in the workshop. And Jeff specifically mentioned that there's going to be new updates coming to the workshop system.
Yeah, he didn't specify exactly what these updates would be, but any updates are worth having, I think. The fact that they're supporting the workshop loads recently, almost every patch you've seen has added a few things to the workshop here and there. If you dug into the patch notes, it's like added this, added that. So the fact that they're keeping that up to date, keeping that fresh, keeping that new, adding new stuff when they can. That's great. And I've been playing a lot of workshop games in the While You Wait system. And some of them are just insane. They're just crazy fun, just nonsense.
I enjoy the system a lot more now than what I thought when they originally introduced it. So I've been using it a lot more while I'm waiting for the competitive match to start.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I'm glad they're continuing to support that. They could have just dumped it on live and just left it. But they've continued to support it, update it, and make it even better time after time. So Jeff also talked about changes coming to the replay system. Now, two changes here that should have been in from the start, but it's better late than never. And those two changes are the option to pin a replay, so you can pin it and then it'll stay there, similar to how the highlight system works, where you can record a highlight and it'll just stay until the game patches. So if you're manually recording a highlight, it'll just stay in that recorded list, and then you can save it, and then that's it. Now, pinned replays will just stay instead of going, because the current system, you've got the 10 replays that are just your 10 previous matches, and that's a rolling list. So pinning it will keep it there until the game patches. But also, in addition to that, they've made it so you can share replays with others, which will dramatically make it much easier to, for example, get competitive matches reviewed by content creators.
When the replay system was originally introduced, I did use the system to kind of look over my plays, see where I was and see where my teammates were. It's something I've kind of shied away from because it is one of those things where it only holds 10. So I can see myself pinning something and maybe going back and looking at it. I do have people in my chat off and on, or even people on the Discord who will say, hey, do you want me to watch one of your VODs or one of your games and give you my feedback? So anything that adds to that and allows you to access it more frequently is a positive, especially for people who play competitive and they want to see where their mistakes were, because sometimes you do feel like you have tunnel vision and something that you should have seen you did not see, and it's something that you need to work on if you want to progress in the SR to get to a higher level of play.
I've been watching Stylos's Overanalyze series, where he looks at players' competitive matches and comments on them and tries to explain what they're doing wrong and how they can improve. Now, what he's been relying on is the users sending in recorded replays or recorded matches. So he's relying on their system to be able to record the match accurately and not mess up at any point, and they're also fixed to whatever the user has recorded. But with this new system, you can just share the replay code with a content creator like Stylosa, who can then go in and load that replay in himself into his own client, and then he can view that at any angle he wants, speed it up, slow it down, move the camera wherever he wants, and actually study the match from any kind of angle he likes to try to explain how the match is working and how to improve based on whatever angle he wants to show it from, which is a much more powerful way of reviewing matches and telling people, look, this is what this player is doing, here's his perspective, here's what he's seeing, and this is why you did this wrong, because look at what he's doing, right? So it's going to be incredibly powerful for things like match reviews, and it makes it much, much easier for people that have perhaps potato PCs to then share that replay with someone who doesn't have a potato PC, right? And so you're not limited by the ability to record matches or the quality of the recording anymore. Because Blizzard has the match on their server, you can just share that, and then whoever wants to view that replay can. It's going to be really good, I think, for everyone, really. It's going to be good for the people who want to share their replays. It's going to be good for the people that want to learn. Say if a high skill tier player, high skill tier streamer wants to help people learn, they can just post their replay code on Twitter, for example. Here's the latest match. Watch it, see if you can figure out what I'm doing, how to improve. They can watch that match then. They can use that as a learning experience, which is going to be incredibly useful. And the fact that you can just tweet that out and that's all you need to do to share a whole match worth of learning, basically, that's incredibly powerful. Sharing replays is probably a lot more powerful than you'd first realize. Once you actually start thinking about it and really trying to figure out the uses of it, it really opens up, right?
Right.
It works both ways, which is great.
Well, Tree Boy Dave, as always, it was a pleasure carrying on these wonderful conversations with you. But thank you again for the opportunity to do this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, boss.
Take it easy.
You too. So thanks for watching Overgrove Episode 6. I hope you enjoyed. If you wish to leave any comments for us, feel free to do so below. Or come by our streams anytime we're live and we can discuss it then. You'll find links for today's episode over on SoundCloud, as well as our social media links there too. I look forward to doing this again next time. We've got some exciting news to talk about, hopefully soon. See you soon.